that's going to move us forward. If we don't do that, you can't see. If we convince ourselves there's no opportunity and we'll never move anywhere in the Virgin Islands, that's going to be our reality, because that's you spoke it into it, and you'll not be able to see the opportunities even when they present themselves.
Agreed. I would like to ask you sometime post-Maria, whenever the rain ease up and hopefully the current is out together, if you could call 712-2300 and ask for me, I'd like to talk to you some more.
Okay, definitely. I don't even know who I'm speaking to you.
Oh, this is Roy DeLemos. I work in Senator Russell's office.
Okay, Albert Bryan.
Okay, Mr. Bryan, okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right, have a great day.
All right.
You know, Roy, even though I agree with most of what Albert just said, right, we have to look back in the past and see how many stores in Frederickson had closed down that helped contribute to the economy here and the government as far as the budget. And all those stores have moved out of Frederickstead. EDC companies are good, but these were the backbone of the Virgin Islands, in particular in St. Croix, that where all these businesses hire a lot of people in Frederickstead. All these stores has gone. If you walk on the waterfront, you could hardly find a stores.
So how do we fix it?
You could have named them. We had at least 4 banks in Frederickstead. We down to 2. You know, our waterfront used to have ships in every week. We don't have but one, maybe once a month or maybe twice a month. You know, and these things are very, very important, that we have an airport, that we don't have very few planes coming into our airport. So if we're going to start trying to attract businesses, we got to watch the tax system. We got to watch the landing fees, the docking fees. We got to make it attractive for them to come. If you got dock down there, a $25 million dock that you could bring in cruise ship, why you going to try to make the fees them so high that people don't want to come? And then we gotta develop St. Croix. So when people come, they have something to do. One hotel with a casino. People ain't want to come here to go to a casino.
How we know that?
They got casino on top of the ship. I'll stay on the ship if I want to play in a casino. I want to come and enjoy some kind of view or something like that. Clean up the place, you know, pay people to do work. Our government have so many brain in his cabinet making these $100,000 jobs. But at the end of the day, did they provide a service to anybody in the Virgin Islands?
Well, I believe many of them have. I'd like to say that our last caller talked about individual responsibility, and I think that's something that we don't address. I mean, I'll start with myself. I don't toot anybody. I used to a long time ago, you know, and I have been I have been the beneficiary of people in this community who spend their time that way. Hold on, let's get one. We got 2 callers here. Let's see if we can get this call in. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller. Hello, good morning. We missed that one. I'll put him on hold, see if they're still here. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Yes.
Good morning to everyone. This is Mary Moorhead speaking. I was encouraged to call listening to Commissioner Bryan. I totally agree with what he was saying and want to point out that Commissioner Bryan is one of the cabinet members of this administration who has been trying to do things and deal with things in a comprehensive manner, getting and collaborating and assisting, supporting with the other departments, interacting, which doesn't happen very often in many administrations, and is part of our downfall. I was involved in a situation where we were trying to improve the community and open the community centers in at least one in each district, and I'm talking in each major community, and I'm talking about specifically St. Croix. And it was amazing to sit and observe and be even somewhat part of it, because I was a part of the group that was working to try to make the change, how the housing authority people, because of ego, because of I'm in charge type attitude, really was fighting and blocking the initiatives that Commissioner Bryan was offering, that he, was just about practically begging them to help him to bring to their program. And this is what happens. We must acknowledge that we do have people who have been miseducated or I should say, been deficient in the education because I think we all acknowledge our education system has been broken for several decades, if not about 15 years. Would you agree?
I don't know how broken it is. I think that requires a little more narrow analysis because it doesn't exist in a vacuum. So when it produces results we don't want, I think we need to look at ways that it interacts with the rest of the community, because you see, people can get uneducated.
We're not saying it's not producing results, Mr. Delemos, but the results are limited. This is why we have even the university now saying that 80%, I think it said, of the students are taking remediation. But at any rate, let me just complete my point so I can get off, because I simply came, as I said, to acknowledge and congratulate Commissioner Bryant for what he's been doing and to agree with his statements and to simply point out that we need to look at the people who are in positions now and be very honest about their qualification and their skills in the position that they have, because a lot of what is going on is we have, yes, the workers, the laborers who are willing and committed to their jobs, but it's the supervisors who just have titles, have salaries, and are not doing work, are not supervising. Many of them because they've gotten just simply lazy or corrupt. Others of them because they don't even have the qualifications or the skills to supervise.
And you suggested
that
we
need to correct.
This deficiency and laziness and stuff exists exclusively at the supervisory level and not below?
I am saying, for the most part, we have because many times I see incidents, Mr. Delemos, and it could be totally different if the supervisor had taken a supervisory position in dealing with the situation and getting it corrected. You know what they say that, you give a man an inch and he takes a foot, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, if supervision is there, it wouldn't happen because we all do have a thing, especially if we see that someone doesn't care, they're making more money than you, and they're not doing their job. After a while, that wears on a person mentally, and they begin then to just get lax. I have seen it happen, and that is simply my point. And I just to point out that Commissioner Bryan has even met with that in dealing with other departments. And this is me saying that because I observe it, as I said, in dealing with the program with Strictly for Youth and trying to open the community centers in St. Croix.
How do you reconcile that getting lax with Commissioner Bryan's exhortation for personal responsibility?
Well, it's just that. It's the lack of the personal responsibility, a lack of values, actually. And it all goes back again, as I said, to education. If we're not teaching our people their history and a proud history that it is, so that they can continue with the level of commitment and dedication to a people and a culture that our ancestors and our parents had, then what do they commit themselves to? What they see on TV, what is promoted as what the thing to be or the way to act, And
well, that was my question. He exhorted us to personal responsibility. So if you have a deficient supervisor, does that necessarily follow that you should become a deficient worker? Or do you have a personal standard?
I'm just saying it does encourage that, but I'm not saying that it must. Nothing is absolute, Mr. Delemos.
Right. Well, that's why I'm just trying to reconcile the two, because I think that's what he's saying, that supervisors and politicians and people at those levels.
Then just keep picking on the exception. That is part of the problem.
No. I think what he's saying is,
Mr. Delemos, you play devil's advocate too much and
no, I ain't playing no devil's advocate. I'm listening to what Mr. Bryan said. Don't leave me here. Don't leave me here.
Well, then get off the point, because you're not making a point.
No, the point I am making is that supervisors, politicians, people in power. That's what Mr. Bryan was saying, that we have a responsibility in spite of those people. We have a personal responsibility, and that responsibility for me does go back to my roots, my father, my grandfather, and people like that. In spite of any supervisor, I feel I have an obligation and a responsibility as well. And I think that's what he was saying. That's why I was trying to reconcile it too.
With that, and I'm just was taking it a bit further. So now what is that it now?
Do you have anything else?
No. I stated from the very beginning what was my reason for calling.
All right,
Thank you.
and thanks for answering and exchanging ideas. Morning, caller. You're on the air.
Greetings and morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Let me try to help me to understand the commissioner's point in a nutshell. Basically, he was saying we should improve EDC because the EDC companies, and because they contribute a lot of money to the government.
I don't know if he said improve it.
I'm trying to understand it. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to understand what his gist of his comment was. In that we should I'm summing it up like this. Basically, we should improve EDC companies because they contribute a lot of money to the government. The government is not a money producer, and they pay a lot of percent of their tax into the government. Am I correct?
I didn't understand it that way. What I understood him to say is that EDC companies do contribute, and he asked us to consider the hard number, the value of their contributions, and not get caught up exclusively on the percentage. That you may criticize the percentage, but then at the same time look at how much actual dollars they contribute. That's what I understood him to say. And so I guess it's the balance that some people go the other way, and he was proposing that in trying to solve our problem, we don't latch on to that as the only solution, the percentage of EDC benefits, because in fact, as unhappy as some of us may be with those percentages, there are real hard dollars coming in. That's what I understood him to say.
But okay, then again, my commentary is basically what they don't pay their fair percent of taxes. They pay, in other words, payment in lieu of taxes, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure about everything about these EDC companies, but as far as I understand, with all the tax breaks, like the caller before was talking about, that these EDC companies get, they don't pay what they're supposed to pay, even though they're here. So what we need to do, if we want to correct, our development here in the territory, is one, make them pay what they're supposed to pay. These payments in lieu of taxes is just that. They get away with giving the government, who is not a money producer, as he said, taxes that a smaller amount of taxes than they should. So
and I think that should is what he was addressing, that the should is a balance between hard dollars, competition to get their presence here, and the impact on our society. So
right, but
the should ain't a single factor phenomenon. So
no,
as I understand.
And the commissioner is a commissioner of a agency here in the territory, right? Which is labor, right? And one of the part of our territory that hurting the most is labor. In other words, we can't find jobs. The whole society that we're dealing with seems to be undermining unions. So, and then all our jobs are not outsourced, but being allowed that people from other parts of the world coming in here and taking jobs that local people might or could or should be be given. Whether is again maybe it might be like he have said many times, under training or what. So we need to develop the training apparatus in our society so that local people can be more gainfully employed. That way you would cover some deficiency in our government, which is the underemployment or the under-preparation of people in our territory for gainful employment. So that is another aspect that he and we need to address as far as the labor aspect of it.
Absolutely, and I think what he talked about is not just the government shortcoming, because, well, let's agree, we need to have students coming out sharper, better. We have vacancies that can be filled because our students are not passing exams. We can go through that litany. However, what I got encouragement out of what he said is that you and I have a role in that. And